I'm the dude. So that's what you call me.
Are you a virgin?
Yeah, not since I was 10.
Are you there, God? It's me, Margaret.
Come on to the coast. We get together, have a few laughs.
Gentlemen, you can't fight in here. This is the war room.
Can I return it if it doesn't fit?
It always fits. Eventually.
Welcome back to Movie Mingle. I'm Caveman.
And I'm Maggie.
And today we are on a historic episode.
Yeah, we are.
For Movie Mingle.
Yes. Because who would have thought?
Because we are on episode 70.
70. Which means, counting this episode, we only have 6 movies left to go.
We do.
Yeah.
Including this one, 6 more.
Yeah. Not that I ever doubted the fact that we would actually do this, but we're actually doing this.
I mean, it's not easy.
No, and I've talked a lot on this show about like how, especially in the last 10 episodes, about how I kind of can't believe we've made it this far. And actually, like, I can, knowing Caveman's sort of, I don't know, ADHD insistence on finishing certain things and finishing projects.
Sometimes.
Like, this makes sense.
Well, ADHD also means I have a lot of projects that never got finished.
Well, yeah, but there was something about this project that really made you be like, we're going to do it.
We're
going to do it rigorously. We're going to do it weekly.
This is probably the most creative I've been able to be, that more than just a few people get to see my...
You know?
Like, I'm not... I tried photography a little bit and did that a little bit on my Instagram, and this seems to be just a little more... Like, I'm doing this this has been a weekly thing.
It has been a weekly
for a
thing.
year and a half.
Yeah.
Almost.
Yeah.
It will be a year and a half by the time we're done.
Fuck, we put the work into it, and I'm proud of us.
And
good job, honey.
I'm glad. I'm looking forward to a little break. Mm-hmm. You know, there's gonna be a tiny one.
Oh yeah,
in between seasons.
Yeah.
Like any other season of media.
Yeah.
Just a break, just to relax, to not be putting on an episode every week, and to also come up with season 2's official list.
It's going to be kind of weird once we get to the point where it's like, oh, we need to do this.
Like, yeah, sure.
So what movie do we have to watch this week? Oh, wait, we
whatever
don't?
you want.
Oh,
actually, let's forget about movies and start watching some TV shows that we're behind on.
So behind on
every
so
TV
many
show
TV shows ever. Oh my god!
Except for like a couple that were just like, we are watching this.
Oh yeah,
no matter what.
We weren't going to be behind on Andor, no matter what. And in fact, like we've digested Andor so quickly that now I want to go back and rewatch it, while I have friends and coworkers who are like, well, I'm still on the 6th episode, and I'm like, God, hurry it up!
Watch it.
We need to fucking talk about it.
Episodes aren't that long.
God. So, but yeah, 70 episodes. I'm very proud. I'm very proud of you because I've known you for the better part of 20 years, and I've never known you to be creative in the way that, like, I am. I write, I paint, I journal, I've written poetry, I dabble, even a lot of my, like, video games are about creating things, or cleaning things, or doing chores, which is funny. So many of my video games are like, I'm choring. But anyways.
I'm sitting on the couch and doing chores.
Yeah, exactly, while ignoring the chores in my home. Adulthood. But seeing you be creative for this show has been such a wonderful thing for me, and something I'm very proud of you for. So well done. And I had to watch Jojo Rabbit again, and I never wanted to. So here we are.
Well, before we go further with Jojo Rabbit, we got some shots lined up.
Because
that's what we do.
You know what? We like whiskey, and we like each other.
I already have the hiccups. So let's just add to it.
Whiskey, movies, and you and me. Cheers.
Cheers.
Oh, I like that.
Oh, my
I like
goodness.
that so much. See how easy it is for me to take shots of American whiskey versus Irish whiskey?
Which is crazy, because Irish whiskey is smoother.
Yeah, but I like the caramely burn of American whiskey. Don't get me wrong, I fucking love Irish. I love all whiskeys, let's be real honest here. I love whiskey.
Okay.
But the American stuff, for me, it goes down so easily with the caramel and the spice and a little bit of smoke and a little bit of burn. Oh,
that's the thing. Like, we're drinking essentially really cheap bourbon.
Such cheap bourbon.
And I I prefer American bourbon to any other whiskey, but this stuff is so cheap.
Oh, it's cheap. It's cheap and it's bad. But did you see how easily I took it down?
But I like for the at the price point, I prefer the Irish whiskey.
Oh, look, that's fair, but it's only $1 more. Or $1 less.
I know, and there's a huge difference with that dollar.
Yeah, well, maybe we just need to start buying you a bottle and me a bottle, and maybe it'll last longer. It won't. But Jojo Rabbit!
Jojo Rabbit. Well, it came out in 2019. It was directed by Taika Waititi. He's been this figure for us for a long time.
This is our first episode.
This is our first.
Like,
this is our first
movie.
Taika Waititi movie.
Which,
that he's starred in or directed or...
on the one hand, is a little insane considering his... God, the fact that Thor Ragnarok is not on this list is insane. Although I would love nothing more than be able to talk about Ragnarok and what a great goddamn movie it is and my happy memories of it. But
future
even
bonus episodes.
I've always wanted to see Boy because I've heard incredible things about it. Hunt for the Wilder People is a great film that you and I love dearly.
His first directed film was Eagle vs. Shark, which I've heard great things haven't about. Seen. And the fact that I pretty much love every movie that he's directed, I know a lot of people don't like every movie that he's made.
That he's done. I can find joy. Oh God, how is What We Do in the Shadows not on this fucking list? I can find joy in most of his movies, and then we hit Jojo Rabbit. We'll talk about that.
We will.
Yeah.
He wrote and directed episodes of Flight of the Conchords,
which honestly I never really got. As much
I've seen a couple episodes. It's
it's fun and it's funny, but I don't quite.
It's like a musical comedy.
Yeah.
Is how, with, like, yes, of course, Jermaine Clement and...
Brett McKenzie.
Yes.
The fact that I know... Figwit! I was like, the fact that I know his name offhand. Oscar winner, Brett McKenzie.
Also, a.k.a. Figwit.
Figwit, also a.k.a. the body double of the villager in the Minecraft movie.
Oh my God, of course he was.
The man has an Oscar, and he was the body double for the villager. That movie was so fucking New Zealand, it's not even funny.
Taika Waititi also directed What We Do in the Shadows, the original movie.
So great.
Hunt for the Wilder People, which, like Maggie and I said,
great.
Or at least Maggie said, but now I will confirm that, yes, Hunt for the Wilder People is an amazing movie.
An amazing movie. It's one of those films that, if you are in any way teetering on whether or not you like Taika Waititi or are into his kind of shtick, I think that of the movies that I have seen, Hunt for the Wilder People is the best. Now, like I've said, I've heard a lot about Eagle and Shark. Shark and Eagle?
Shark versus Eagle.
Shark versus Eagle.
Or Eagle versus Shark.
Yeah, whatever.
Sorry, one or the other.
But most importantly, I've heard a lot about Boy. In fact, I heard so much about Boy even pre my, knowledge of Taika Waititi. And keep in mind, too, all of this is off the top of my head. I've not looked up his IMDb at all at the moment. So, the man is...
Well, yeah, he's got some very memorable films.
He's got some memorable films, but Hunt for the Wilder People is such a beautiful movie, and Sam Neill gives such an incredible performance in that film that you walk away from it changed. And I guess, God damn it, that's what this movie does to you, too. Taika Waititi movies really can change you. When he wants to, he can hit you right in the heart.
He did Thor Ragnarok and Thor Love and Thunder, and I know, yes, Thor Ragnarok is...
perfection.
Just like the perfect MCU movie.
It is.
And
it's one of the very best.
Love and Thunder, I know, is not everybody's thing. If you've been watching Taika Waititi movies since Hunt for the Wilder People or Boy or Eagle vs. Shark, or have just watched a few episodes of Flight of the Conchords, you start watching things like What We Do in the Shadows and Hunt for the Wilder People, and you watch those early Taika movies.
Yeah.
There's not much difference between those movies and what he did with Thor Love and Thunder. I prefer Ragnarok. He directed it, but he didn't write it.
No, Ragnarok is the better movie, but you're right.
It is.
Love and Thunder
Taika is all him.
Taika.
Love and Thunder is all Taika.
Love and Thunder is all Taika.
Because he wrote and directed it, and
it's fucking funny.
It's hilarious.
It's so funny.
But
and
I understand a lot of people don't like that kind of humor.
Yeah.
And I understand that, but
it was a choice for the MCU to make, and I don't necessarily think it was maybe the right choice, but I'm not saying it's a bad movie. I enjoyed the fuck out of it when you saw it on theater. I have rewatched it, I think, once since. If you look in terms of, like, Thor's arc, I don't think it necessarily is as important.
Yeah.
Like Ragnarok's obviously the best film. Of the 4 Thor movies, I think it goes Ragnarok, Thor 1, Love and Thunder, Thor 2.
Yes.
And so it's not that it's a bad movie per se. It was just a choice that Marvel made, that the Marvel let Taika go off and do.
They let him do whatever he wanted because of how
was,
successful Ragnarok was.
It was also kind of around the time that we started to get maybe a little too much of Taika Waititi. Maybe just a little too much of him. And not just in his movies, but also in, like, the like the discourse around his personal life, his own celebrity was kind of getting to be a bit too big. And I think that's what happened with Love and Thunder for me, is that it's not that I disliked the movie, but I was starting to get a little overwhelmed with just how much Taika Waititi was Taika Waititiing all over my face.
Is it because he's also an actor?
No, it's not the acting of it. I think it was just
like, what's the difference between
general celebrity.
I know, but what's the difference between him and, like, James Gunn?
I think that since James Gunn isn't in the like I know that you don't follow the gossip rags, but I do. And there was a while there where he was kind of splashed all over it.
Taika?
Yeah, his divorce, his relationship with Dua Lipa, that weird possible threesome he had with
why do we need
Tessa
to follow
Thompson
this stuff,
and
like,
Dua Lipa, I think. Which, goddamn.
Okay, so if you like following celebrity gossip, you might have
it was
some
around
preconceived
the same time.
thoughts of the man, but
still, he's not.
I am always been and probably will always be just somebody who enjoys the work, and I don't care about his private life,
and that's fine. But I follow the gossip. It's a totally fine thing to do, and
is it?
Yeah, it is, because it's kind of fun, and it's escapism in this garbage world that we live in. But for me, it got to be that I was kind of exhausted by him as a person after a while. And I think that that's what happened. And then after I saw this particular movie, I was like, fuck it. I can't do it anymore. Like,
what's okay? We'll get into that, because I'm really curious about what's wrong with this movie.
Well, what was wrong with this movie?
I don't know. So I guess I'll find out soon.
We'll find out, but let's get into.
Well, I really enjoyed the fact that not only did he get to be the executive producer for Our Flag Means Death, but he also directed the pilot and got to act in many of the episodes.
Our Flag Means Death is kind of what brought me back on the oh fuck, I love this fucking guy train.
Of course.
Look,
I've never not liked him, and I look forward to every time one of his new movies around, or if he's not even directing and maybe he just wrote something and is acting it, or however it ends up, if his name is attached as producer, director, writer, actor, and it doesn't have to be all 4, and it can be just one of them, and I'm excited to see what he's up to.
Again, like I said, me being a little like kind of over the celebrity of Taika Waititi was fun. It was a 2-year thing. Like, I was just like, oh my god, this guy's kind of too much. Like, he's around a bit too much, whatever. And then I watched Our Flag Means Death, and that show is so dear to my heart. And you saw how hard I cried in the last episode. The unfortunate series finale that shouldn't have been the series finale. We should have gotten one more season to tell the story that they wanted to tell, HBO Max. But whatever, it's fine. I'm not angry about it. But you watched me watch what happened to Izzy Hands, and you watched me cry.
Yeah, and he was like an unlikable character for the majority of the show.
The entire first season, you're like, this motherfucker Izzy Hands.
I can't wait till this guy eats it, so I don't have to look at his face anymore.
But I loved him from the get. I was like, this angry little man, I'm so obsessed with him. Then in the second season, he got just the most beautiful arc ever.
True. It's very true.
Like, Caveman has seen me cry hard at a lot of things throughout our life together. He's seen me cry at big things and small things and important things and dumb things. Like, the man's seen me cry. But have you ever seen me cry the way I cried when that goddamn seagull landed on that cross? Because that broke me.
Great moment.
Our Flag Means Death is a perfectly wonderful queer story about pirates and hope and love and what kindness and joy can do to the people around you. And it's a beautiful show, and if you haven't watched it, watch it. I made Jess...
Everything she says is accurate.
Yeah, and I made Jess my very best friend on the planet. Hey, girl, hey. And she came up one day to visit, and I was like, you haven't seen the show, and you have to watch season 1.
You will watch it all now.
And, like, now the bitch has tattoos. So, of Taika Waititi's face on a dog. And it makes sense. That show is so dear to my heart. So yeah, like, okay, so my love of Taika had a speed bump. Who the hell cares? And the speed bump happened to be this movie. But if you haven't seen Our Flag Means Death, oh my god, it is like 24? I think they're 12 episodes each? 10 episodes each? Each season?
10.
Yeah, at least
8,
it is somewhere around the at least 20 episodes.
The normal
20
like streaming
half-hour episodes, no less.
Oh yeah, they're half hour.
Of some of the greatest comedy and physical and emotional comedy and just love and joy and queer people that you will ever see. I loved it. Check it out.
He also directed an episode of The Mandalorian. He directed the season 1 finale called Redemption. It's the one where his character, of course, IG 11 or 88 or 99 or 100, whatever his name is, he sacrifices himself and gets Grogu and the Mandalorian to safety. It was also the highest rated show, according to IMDb, of season 1. Season 2 only has 2 episodes that are higher rated than Taika's episode. Taika's episode was a 9.2, and in season 2 there was a 9.3 when Ahsoka shows up for the first time, and then again they got a 9.8 for the episode where Luke Skywalker shows up. That is Taika's mark on the Star Wars universe. So when it comes to the person who wrote Jojo Rabbit, the original writer, Christine Lunens, when she wrote this book, which originally was titled Caging Skies from 2008, she had a master's degree in creative writing, and then in between Caging Skies and A Can of Sunshine, she got her Can of Sunshine is specifically about...
I'm sorry, this bitch has her doctorate in writing?
Yes, creative writing.
First of all,
you can get a doctorate in creative writing.
What am I doing with my life?
So Dr. Christine Lunens wrote Caging Skies, which later became Jojo Rabbit. Taika Waititi's mother gave him the book to read, and he loved it. And in his mind, he was kind of bored of generic World War II stories, and because they were all told through the perspectives of the soldiers and survivors, and his grandfather fought in World War II, and he decided to adapt that novel into a film. The subject matter of the movie, especially him playing Hitler.
The quotes about him playing Hitler are fucking amazing.
It did not prevent him from pursuing the project. He looked at it as a type of motivation and thought of it as a challenge, and as bold filmmaking. He considered it a love letter to mothers,
especially single mothers.
He compared the premise of the screenplay with the Rugrats. Because it portrays violence through a fantastical lens of a child.
Mm-hmm.
Another inspiration that came to him was to make this movie. He found out that 66% of millennials...
I'm sorry, what was that?
66%.
66%, eh? Think of that.
that's all very comedic when now I have to say that 66% of millennials have never heard of or had knowledge of the Auschwitz camp.
Fucking, that is goddamn untrue. You know why? Because you and I are millennials and we went to school. Well, I went to school. You were homeschooled. But I went to
still learned
school.
about it.
Yeah. You fucking learn about that shit in history.
The first time I heard the word Nazi,
yeah,
I grew up, okay, just so everybody, if this is your first episode and you don't know my background, I grew up in a Christian household.
Yeah, you did.
Unfortunately. And I didn't learn about Nazi. The first thing that told me what a Nazi was, when I first heard a Nazi or saw a Nazi flag.
Say it.
Was from Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade.
I fucking knew it. But I'm also not surprised.
That was my first Indiana Jones movie, was the third one.
You also kind of grew up in a Christian nationalist home.
I did. And I went to a private school that did not teach us about World War II.
And I went to motherfucking public school in California. Whoop, whoop. I have some sort of education. It's very little.
In high school, I think it was through my church, somebody decided to go to the Museum of Tolerance.
Yeah, I've been there. That's a rough fucking museum.
It is.
That is not a fun time museum.
It's not supposed to be. It's supposed to be a bad time.
Yeah.
To kind of...
I mean, it's supposed to reflect
It's supposed to give you the point of view of being a Jew during World War II.
Yeah.
And it sucks. The fact that 66% of American millennials
look.
Where did that figure
Gen
come
Z,
from?
Maybe.
Gen Z,
Zillennials, maybe.
Zillennials.
Yeah, that's the elder Gen Z or early. It's because I'm an elder millennial.
66%'s too high.
Sure.
It's got to be.
It is. I can't believe that, because how do you not know the word Auschwitz? Because if nothing else, it's in our fucking pop culture, guys, and that's how we learn things.
But not everybody is into pop culture.
66% is too high. I cannot believe that, because I feel like we'd have a lot more of those assholes that are Holocaust deniers if the 66% was that fucking high. I mean, maybe not knowing, okay, I can see if they were polled and they were like, can you name a concentration camp? And they're like, no. Have you ever heard of Auschwitz? No, but they've heard of what's happened in them. Right? I was taught that shit in elementary school. So I don't get it, but I also don't understand this world at large. And if more people were like me, we'd have a more peaceful world. I mean, an angrier world, but a more peaceful world. The two can happen. And, Christina Aguilera would have never been a thing. But still, if more people were like me, I just can't believe that 66% of my generation is like, what's an Auschwitz? I don't know. No. We all know. Because we were taught it. We were all taught it. And unbelievably, the people that are trying to repeat it now were also taught it. And instead of hearing the lessons and going, well, that's fucked up, they heard the lessons and went, I can improve upon that, which is bad. That's bad. But I can't imagine that 66% of people.
Yeah, and it doesn't, I'm looking at the article and I'm like,
what's the article from?
He just says it, The Daily Beast, but it was a actual quote from him.
From Taika?
Yeah, and but he doesn't say where he got the figure from.
Okay.
But it was enough.
Baby.
But at least it was enough to get him to make the movie.
Yeah.
And I believe that there probably is a unsettling figure of people who don't know about Auschwitz.
Oh, I'm sure there is. Or
whether
people
they're
that
millennials
don't believe that it happened
or
in the
was
first
that
place.
bad, or if it was a lie. Yeah, whatever
bullshit idea you want to think.
Yeah, excuse
about
you want to
Auschwitz,
make to believe that the Nazis were good.
Which, by the way, it's... My God, I can't go on the rant of the assholes that actually agree with it.
Well,
but
because
it's
so hard to believe.
It is so hard to believe that anyone could look at that and go, I could do that better. But it's not that hard to believe, because humanity is a curse on this planet. But Jesus Christ, have some empathy and compassion.
The screenplay was written by Taika as well. As a writer, he's credited for every episode of What We Do in the Shadows and Reservoir Dogs.
Every episode of the show?
Yeah, he's credited as being a writer. I don't know if how involved he is in every episode, but he is at least credited for all the episodes.
You know what? Now that we have finished a very epic rewatch of Big Mouth.
Are we going to do an epic rewatch of What We Do in the Shadows?
Don't you kind of want to? I mean, we never finished the last season, and we loved that show.
It's a great show.
And we never finished that last season. I don't know if it was because we weren't into it at the time or we're just in denial about it ending, but that show is over, and we never watched it. So...
another show that he wrote but didn't direct was Next Goal Wins, which was a really fun movie.
It was a movie, not a show.
That's what I said.
That movie is great. That movie... when that movie came out and I saw the trailer for it, I was like, Taika doing a loser soccer team, like, okay, I guess I'll watch it. That movie made me fucking ugly cry. It is so good. It is so sweet. And it has such a beautiful story behind it. Yeah, I highly recommend that cute little film.
Maggie, who did the music for Jojo Rabbit?
You know what? He's we haven't talked about him ever before.
I think he's new.
He's new to the podcast. We have never had a chance to blow this man so hard that even from far, far away, he was like, "Wait a minute, what are these feelings I'm feeling?" His name is Michael Giancano.
Chino?
Michael Giacchino? Is that could that be it?
Michael? Yeah, Michael.
Because we
Giacchino?
definitely have never taken this man and praised him to the point of obsession.
Like, I don't think we can say anything more about Michael
what do we
Giacchino.
say? Like, fucking listen to any
it's
other.
Like, what
literally
else?
listen to any of our other podcasts. It would be fun to go back and find, like, be like, all right, how many movies did we talk about Michael Giacchino in? How many movies did we talk about Scorsese? And how many Hans Zimmer. Like, Michael Giacchino is one of
Tarantino,
the common, but when it comes to, like, we've had movies, we've had a lot of Tarantino movies, we've had a lot of Scorsese movies, we've had a lot of
the movie Jack.
Nolan. Did you know Scorsese directed Jack?
Wait,
oh
what?
my god, yeah, that silly little movie Jack.
You're telling me Martin Scorsese?
Martin Scorsese of Taxi Driver directed Robin Williams as an aging 10-year-old.
God, I gotta watch this movie.
I gotta watch this movie because I only ever saw it once a long time ago. Michael Giacchino has been one of the him and Ludwig Göransson. Honestly, it's been composers and cinematographers that have had the most common thread through this silly little podcast. And yeah, what more do we say about Michael Giacchino? He's the man. Go listen to any of his music. Go watch Werewolf by Night. Just go deep dive. And I'm so excited for his score for the Fantastic Four. It's not even funny.
I'm not going to listen to any of it until I see the movie.
Yeah.
And then,
no, absolutely
and then
not. I'm not even going to
it.
look at the track list.
I don't want to see
because that motherfucker and his puns is going to give something away.
Yeah, his puns give everything away.
I can't wait for World's Worst Blank because most of his soundtracks have a title called World's Worst Blank.
Mahai Melamer Jr. Was the cinematographer for Jojo Rabbit. He worked on The Master, The Harder They Fall, which is a great movie that you and I saw on Netflix.
That was a really fun movie.
A Walk Among the Tombstones, and he was the cinematographer for Megalopolis.
Oh, how was that?
The cinematography was not terrible.
Was it?
It wasn't my favorite cinematography in a film, but it wasn't the worst.
The worst. I didn't see it.
I mean, it did a better job in Jojo Rabbit and The Harder They Fall. But Megalopolis has had a lot more issues than just cinematography. Rotten Tomatoes has Jojo Rabbit at an 81% from critics and 94% from audiences.
This really was one of his bigger hits.
Yeah, absolutely. Letterboxd gave it a 4 out of 5. Metascore, for some reason, has given it a 58.
Interesting.
And then back up to a 7.9 on IMDb.
58?
I don't know
what
where the
is
50...
Metascore? You've said it several times.
Metascore...
I've just been sitting here like... la, 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 la,
So on IMDb, Metascore... Or IMDb always posts their thing out of 10, right? And then Metascore is whatever out of 100. It's a combination of reviews from supposedly a large group of respected critics, and
8%.
and provided a single score representing the critical consensus, ranging from 0 to 100. And who knows what the hell that was all about? Because everybody else gave it such a high score, including Rotten Tomatoes, which gave it 81%. So it brought the average to 78%. But then I was like, all right, let's delete Metascore this time and see what that brings it to. And it jumped up to an 84%.
Which makes more sense. Yeah.
So who knows what's wrong with Metascore? Maybe it's sick. It was made for $14 million, but it made $34 million domestically, $60 million internationally, and another $4 million on home media, for a total of $98 million. So, I mean, for a movie that was only made for 14 and it almost made 100, is huge.
That is pretty big.
And I'm
also shocked that this movie was only made for $14 million because the cast has some big names but small parts. The big names have small parts. So that makes sense to me. The set design and costumes
were great.
Feel so much more expensive. But
set design would seem simple because it's all very much like really easy.
It takes place in town, but even the destruction of war is not cheap.
No, but it was. The few times that it was used was like a little explosion here, a little explosion there. You don't ever really see Russians or Americans.
Yeah, you do.
Not until the end, after the war's over. But you don't see them like fighting the Germans.
True.
You see more of the Germans shooting at a unseen enemy, and then at the end they're just like, "We won," being America.
Yeah.
And
I guess I'm just shocked that I don't know, because this movie feels like it's more than just $14 million. But I
think
also
it's just all well spent. Like your locations are very simple.
Yeah.
Like you've got their house.
Well, yeah, but then you've
got the city
forest,
square.
You've got
but that's all very easy.
The pool. But yeah, they
those are easy locations. Like it was shot in the Czech Republic.
I think it just goes to show what a good filmmaker Taika is, that he was able to create such a big looking film for so cheap. And also, like, this cast had to have taken a pay cut to work with him, which is also something that I love to see, because I like to see when a cast of big name stars is like, I'll do this short movie for a little bit, for a little less money, because I believe in the script and I believe in the creator. And that's cool too.
Jojo Rabbit won 52 awards and was nominated for another 191.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Which is, I mean...
Yeah, this was a big movie for him.
Taika won an Oscar for Best Adapted Screenplay, which he was up against The Irishman, The Joker.
Yeah.
Which the fact that he beat out the Joker was...
Suck it, Joker.
I love that.
Suck it.
Little Women, Greta Gerwig's movie.
That's a little shocking.
And The Two Popes. Taika also got a Grammy. Did you know he got a Grammy?
Man, that motherfucker's gonna EGOT one day.
He got a Grammy for Best Compilation Soundtrack for Visual Media.
I'm not shocked by that, because this is a man who, I mean, like, much like Zach Braff, the motherfucker can put together a playlist. I mean, Taika can put together a playlist. Of course he can.
We'll get to him soon when we talk about the actors in the movie, but Roman Griffin Davis, who played Jojo, won a Critics' Choice Award for Best Young Actor.
He was really cute and good in it.
Absolutely. The movie was nominated for Best Film from the Academy Award, from the Academy. Scarlett Johansson was nominated for Best Supporting Actress. They were also nominated for Best Costumes and Production Design and Film Editing. But first of all, Parasite was the big movie that year. Laura Dern won for Best Supporting Actress for The Marriage Story. Which also Florence Pugh was also nominated for Little Women for Best Supporting Actress as well. Costumes went to Little Women.
Yeah, I could see that. The costumes in Little Women are more beautiful and I'm assuming handmade versus Jojo Rabbit, which I imagine outside of that fucking paper uniform that little boy soldier wears, just so fucking funny.
I love that paper uniform.
A lot of those costumes were probably just vintage.
Production design went to Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
Yeah,
even though
yeah.
I wanted it to go to 1917, but
we have talked
about it, and yes,
the production design of that movie.
Tarantino turned Hollywood into 1960s Hollywood.
Yeah.
So that is an amazing.
The facades on the Taco Bell alone.
But
Come
1917 gave you World War One.
Yeah, but he turned a fucking Taco Bell into a 1960s
He turned
Taco
France
Bell.
into World War One.
You like that movie a lot more than I ever will.
1917.
And the reason I don't like that movie is because it makes me cry and I can't handle it.
And then editing went to Ford versus Ferrari.
Which...
whatever. It's been a long time since I've seen Ford versus Ferrari, but
I think we own it.
We do.
Yeah.
On Amazon.
Yeah. The ultimate dad film. Your dad comes over. What are we going to watch? Ford versus
We
Ferrari.
did. We bought it just so that we could watch it with my dad.
Yeah, that is true.
So let's get into our cast.
Let's get into our cast.
We will start with, we recently mentioned Roman Griffin Davis winning a Critics' Choice Award for Best Young Actor.
He was such a cute little boy.
He knocked this role out of the
How
park.
do you give this role to a child?
They
always say in Hollywood, never work with children or animals, right? Obviously, being a kid actor is a scary thing. I mean, look at all of the children actors that have come before him. And there's a lot to be said about kid actors, but this little bastard, this guy, gave such an incredible performance at 12? It's just so good, so pure, so relatable, and so much fun. Obviously, Roman Griffin Davis has not done a whole lot since then. He did happen to be in The King of Kings, which I will never watch.
Even though it's got Oscar Isaac in it?
I mean, I might want to watch it for the cast and for Oscar Isaac as Jesus.
I mean, I'm waiting for King of Kings to come out on video.
Well,
so that I can get an audio clip of him.
Yeah.
being Jesus.
Being Jesus. I mean, I guess, I need a super clip of Oscar Isaac saying Jesus Christ and then saying, I am Jesus. That would be.
But I want to know.
But he does a great job in this movie.
I went to Sunday school. I don't know who Walter Dickens is.
Well, King of Kings is I think it's based on a Charles Dickens book. And I think what the thing is that it's Charles Dickens explaining to his son,
Walter
Dickens, about the life of Jesus.
Here he is. His Charlie Dickens is how he's named in this movie.
Yeah. So and he's played by Kenneth Branagh.
D. Bradley Baker plays the voice of a cat, of course. Which, he probably just makes cat noises and doesn't actually talk.
Please put in the platypus noise. Who cares? King of Kings, whatever. It's Oscar Isaac as Jesus. I'm going to watch it, but I'm going to giggle through it. I would like to be high through it. He was also in Silent Night, which, if I remember correctly, is like an end of the world type movie that takes place over Christmas. With a pretty stellar cast, if nothing else, of Keira Knightley and Matthew Goode, who, God, they could make me a sandwich and do whatever they wanted to me, and I would be so happy for that. But I do kind of remember this movie making a little bit of a splash. It has a 5.8 out of 10 on IMDb, which isn't great. But I just know that it's like a Christmas party set at the end of the world. It's a very interesting story. I think I Wikipedia'd the plot, but I won't give any spoilers.
Gotcha. Next we have Thomasin McKenzie, who plays
Elsa. She is a New Zealand-born actress, and she has... I didn't see Last Night in Soho. I didn't see Old.
The King I've talked about before with... it's got
Timothée Chalamet
in it, and she plays his wife.
Mm-hmm.
She was in Last Night in Soho, which I am torn about as far as the movie goes, but I think I need to watch it a second time.
I saw the cast and I went, ooh, and then I kind of didn't, I don't know, I didn't hear a lot of good things about it. I felt like it came and went. And I think it's further proof that maybe Edgar Wright should just stick to movies with Nick Frost
With Nick
and
Frost
Simon
and
Pegg.
Simon I mean,
but
it wasn't. I'm
love-
not saying it was a terrible movie. I mean, it's still got a 7.0 on IMDb, which is a great
Matt
rating.
Smith. I love Anna Taylor-Joy, and I really like this Thomasin McKenzie actress.
I honestly think I need to watch it again.
I'll watch it with
get
you.
a
Better understanding of it.
Yeah.
She was also in that movie Old, which was an M. Night Shyamalan movie.
It was.
What a twist. And I wasn't going to watch it because, let's be honest, I'm not going to watch his movies anymore. And then lastly, the other thing we would have known her for was she had a big, I don't know, I can't say, part in The Hobbit, The Battle of the Five Armies, which was the most unnecessary movie to ever be movied all over our faces.
She was in the early days of her acting. She was in a TV series called Shortland Street. 28 episodes. So you're in that many episodes of any TV show. That's a pretty big deal.
She does an incredible job.
Oh,
in this
absolutely.
Film.
No, she's a great actress, and she plays this role very well.
If Jojo is the heart of this movie, Elsa's the soul.
Yeah. You know, you were talking about
so good.
You're talking about kid actors, and there are certain kid actors like the kid actors from Harry Potter. Mm-hmm. You watch that first Harry Potter movie.
Oh, it's rough.
It is so rough.
Yeah.
And I don't know
how across the board, everything's rough in that movie, with the exception of
But there are many movies.
Rickman.
There are many movies with actors that young.
Yeah.
They're just not great.
Yeah.
And Roman Griffin Davis, who I don't know exactly how old he was, but he kind of looked like 10, 11.
He looked like of age, 10, 11, yeah.
And which Harry Potter's supposed to be 11. Mm-hmm. All this to say, he does this so well. And there are other actors that were his age that also, it's those actors that I really feel like end up going on and doing things. If you're lucky enough to play Harry Potter, you will probably have a really good career later.
That is true. There's no way that Daniel Radcliffe was not going to be. I mean, Daniel Radcliffe is an adorable man. I've loved him in a lot of projects, but he's not the best actor.
He's not a great actor.
No.
Neither was
especially not Rupert Grint.
No.
Emma Watson
is a better actor.
Some shining moments to her.
She's got. I feel like
she has become the better actress. But now she's given up being an actress and wants to be an activist and use her money for good, which is awesome. And what you should be using your money for, you fucking psycho, J.K. Rowling, whatever the hell your name is. Whatever, you're a bitch, and I hate you, and I will never give you another penny of my money ever again. Eat shit and die. But Emma Watson is a very good actress. And
do you think it's a difference between young British actors and young American actors?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I think that in England, especially, because if you're on let's put it this way: if there was an American,
not to say any British kid has never turned into some douchebag, but
there are some young children actors from Harry Potter who turned out to be absolute douchebags.
Oh, yeah, that's true. Forgot about some of them.
But I think that if you are the main actor of Harry Potter, right? And if you're in America, you're working with Alec Baldwin and, I don't know, Mickey Rourke, and at least, you're not acting with the best role models.
Interesting.
I'm just saying,
choices.
You're not working with great
Mickey
role models.
Rourke
Yeah. As opposed to in England, you're working with Michael Gambon and Alan Rickman.
Or they're just raised better.
Well, I can't say that either. I'm just thinking about if you're on set. If you're a child actor on set of a big movie, who are you going to have a better life lessons from? Alan Rickman or Alec Baldwin? And look, I'm just saying that Alec Baldwin would absolutely be an American Snape. We all know this. So I'm just trying to think that Daniel Radcliffe had Michael Gambon and Maggie Smith and Richard Harris and Alan Rickman and Robbie Coltrane.
He got to grow up with a lot of cool people, especially between the ages 11 and 18.
Solidly entertaining actors who taught him how to be a better actor and taught him how to be a better person. I'm not saying he's not without his own demons, because I believe he had an issue with drugs and alcohol quietly, but he still had an issue with it. But my point is, if you're going to grow up from the ages of 11 to 21 on set with people, you're going to be better. You're going to grow up to be a better person when you're on set with that caliber of British actors than whatever caliber of American actors is.
no stranger to the podcast, Scarlett Johansson playing Mama Rosie.
I think this is one of her best movies that I've ever watched. I love her in this film.
I wouldn't disagree with that. This is one of her best roles and best acting roles. Like, I think she does a really good job of not being, like, you don't have to, like, it's not another movie of her being like the sexy blank.
Yeah, that is nice to see that, like, actual series or acting chops.
And I mean, she was disembodied AI.
Yeah.
Lost in translation, I wouldn't say she was playing like a sexy person necessarily.
I know. It's been so long since I've seen that movie, but fuck that movie.
But but I feel like this is definitely one where she's. I mean, I can't think
this
of
is one
many
of her
movies.
Better films.
Well, I can't think of many of her films where she's played a mother.
Yeah, I never
I'm
did
sure
see
she
A Marriage
has,
Story.
but neither did I.
But and I know she's played a mom in plenty of movies because A, she is a mom, and B, she is of mom age.
Oh yeah, so that automatic
look
means
in
that
Hollywood.
Yes,
yes, it does.
Yep.
I do remember liking her in Hail Caesar, but I also don't remember a lot of Hail Caesar. Look, I have long said that I don't particularly like Scarlett Johansson. Like, she's fine. I like her in the MCU stuff for the most part. The rest of her stuff, I was sort of like, meh, I could take it or leave it. This movie was a movie where I was like, fuck it. I don't want to rewatch it again. How dare you make me watch this movie? But as I was watching, I was like, Scarlett Johansson is so good in this film as a mother and as a resistance fighter and as trying to keep her child alive. Like, she is a part of the resistance and she is raising a little, like, Hitler youth.
Yeah.
That is not easy for her, and you can see it. I love the way that she holds herself in this film. I love how kind she is to Jojo. I love how kind she is to Elsa. And her style is pretty fab. Like, I think that this is one of her better performances. And while I go on record on being like, meh, Scarlett Johansson, I think that she does a beautiful job in this film.
I mean, it was enough to get her nominated for an Oscar.
Yeah, and a well-deserved one too, because it's such, there's so many heartbreaking, once you see this movie for a second time, which is probably the reason why I didn't like it the first time, is because I really needed to see this movie a second time, but I was never going to watch it again because it broke me. And Scarlett Johansson is one of the main reasons why this movie fucking broke me.
Because she plays the role so well?
Yeah, and also what happens to her.
Well, yeah, but that's at the end of the movie.
It's not. It's like halfway through the film. It's not at the end of the movie. It's halfway through the film.
I wouldn't say halfway.
It's enough to make it
enter you into the third half.
Let me put it this way.
Third act.
If I had lived in an area occupied by World War II, be it Germany or Austria or Poland or any of those places that was occupied by the Nazis, and I was who I am now, I would be Rosie, which means that I would be quietly resisting and doing what I can. When Jojo sees all the bodies hanging in the square and he asks, what did they do? And her response was, what they could.
What they could.
That would have been me. I would have been one of those bodies, because I would absolutely, in my heart of hearts, hide somebody in my home to save them from a fascist regime. I see so much of myself and my own humanity in Rosie that I think that's why it broke me so hard and why I was like, fuck this movie, I can't watch it again. Because with all the horrible things going on in this world, I can't just sit idly by and let it happen to innocent people. I will use my voice however I can, as small as it is, to be like, fuck this, and no, this can't happen. I would be saving a little Elsa. I would be that woman in World War II in Germany being like, fuck these fucking Nazis. What a bunch of pricks. Who can I help? And it would cost me my life and I would regret nothing. Even at the expense of being able to be there for my family. You have to do what is right. And she did what was right, and she paid the ultimate price for it. And Scarlett Johansson gives such a beautifully nuanced role in this film that maybe does it make me like her a little bit more? Yes, of course it does. But I think a lot of what I disliked about this film was my own fear of being like, I would be her. and I have no regrets over it, but I'm terrified of it. I'm terrified of it. But I would be her.
Taika Waititi plays Adolf Hitler. Getting around it, that's who he plays.
To paraphrase, when asked whether or not he did any research to portray Hitler as an actual person and who he really was, his response was, fucking no, absolutely not. That guy was a cunt. I mean, Taika, I fucking love you so much. I can't believe I ever was, like, annoyed with you, because here is a half-Jewish, Polynesian, bisexual fairy sprite out there playing Hitler, who would have fucking hated it. And his response was, I'm not going to do any research. I'm not going to do any...
What research for this role, for how he's playing him?
Yeah,
what research was the point?
But he wasn't going to do any research. He wasn't going to put any nuance or any sympathy or anything into Hitler. He was like, fuck that guy. He's a cunt. I'm going to do what I want. And I love that about him.
Yeah.
And that makes me love him even more. Of all, like, because Taika's been in every single one of his movies, right? He's a director that puts himself into his films, which is totally fine. Like, he's not out there like Tarantino and Scorsese and dropping the N-word every other word, for his cameos. He was like, I'm going to play Hitler, and I'm going to give this guy no respect because that guy's a cunt. And I love that about him. Is this the best depiction of Hitler on screen ever? No, Mel Brooks did that several times. But, the producer's Hitler is 1,000 times better.
I was like, when did Mel Brooks play Hitler?
Mel Brooks has never played Hitler, but Mel Brooks has put the better Hitler on screen, and that would be the producer's Hitler.
The producer's Hitler.
But Taika's got a pretty great Hitler out there.
999.
Do you remember when there was
that's Inglourious Basterds.
Do you remember when there was a time when, like, there was a big meme around some movie about Hitler, and it's all in German, and it shows Hitler being really upset about something, and he's pounding on the table, and he's yelling at all of his subordinates, and then the internet took it and put it to, like, random shit, so, like, him ranting about what had happened in like, different movies. It was a meme for a while, and it was a long meme where Hitler is like bitching about what happened on RuPaul's Drag Race and how dare they eliminate that queen, and he's like, that's what the subtitles are. He's like pounding on the table being like, I cannot believe that Ginger Minge didn't win, or whatever it was.
I missed that.
Oh god, those were really fucking funny, but they were way too long. When we turn our villains into clowns, we win, because it humanizes them. And then it makes them seem ridiculous. And, like, it's not like they're not already giant clowns and doing it to themselves. I want my voice on the internet forever saying that Hitler's a cunt.
Next we have Sam Rockwell, who
Sam motherfucking
I
Rockwell.
love in this role.
Doesn't love this man
He's
in anything he's ever done.
He's so great every time he pops up in something.
Can I bring up his top 4 on IMDb?
Yeah.
His top 4, Sam Rockwell's top 4 on IMDb is Moon.
Great movie.
3 Billboards Outside of Ebbing, Missouri.
Which he got an Oscar for.
I've never seen, actually. Confessions of a Dangerous Mind.
Which he's really good in.
It's a great movie. And 7 Psychopaths.
Which I think, guys...
So I've only seen
actually.
Confessions of a Dangerous Mind, which is a wonderful film. But I've heard good things about Moon. I've just never sat down to watch it.
Moon is a great movie.
And I think the 3 Billboards Outside of Ebbing, Missouri might be too much for me.
Probably,
as a mom.
Yeah, not great.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a great movie.
But this man came in on he literally has a single cameo scene of the 3rd season of The White Lotus, and he's the one that I hear people talking about the most. Over Walton Goggins, over Jennifer Coolidge, over everybody else that has been in White Lotus, I hear people talk about Sam Rockwell delivering like a 5-minute monologue that just stole the goddamn show. Sam Rockwell has been in everything. I can't believe we haven't watched Argyle yet.
I know, because, I mean, you and I really like Matthew Vaughn.
I think I just heard bad things. And
I heard, I mean, it's a 5.6.
I also really wanted to watch See How They Run, but you watched that without me, and then I was like, well, I'm not going to watch it by myself.
Remember, so we could probably rewatch it, and I'd probably be like, oh, yeah.
But Sam Rockwell has been in a ton of fucking things. He dances, he sings, he's adorable. We love him. I mean, God, he is the best part of Iron Man 2 outside of Tony Stark.
Sure.
right?
Yes.
Like Tony Stark and
But even Tony Stark in that one, because he's such a drunk idiot,
He's
can
such a
get a
drunk
little
idiot.
annoying.
Yeah.
So Sam Rockwell really is the best part of
yeah,
Iron Man 2.
he absolutely is.
They made a Napoleon Dynamite TV series.
They did.
That's what this in 2012. That must have been like a really short like internet thing. Or
Oh
something.
fuck, him and Hitchhiker's
Oh, it's
Guide?
animated. Yeah, him and
Hitchhiker's
Guide. He's great in.
There was I even enjoyed Matchstick Men, actually. Like, I remember hearing about Sam Rockwell from a very young age and being like, I always liked this guy. But in Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, his character, Zaphoid...
Beetlebrox or
Yes,
something like that.
yeah.
May not be exact. Beetlebrox?
Yeah,
I can't
something like
remember.
that.
Yeah.
I want to rewatch that movie. That movie's perfect. But he drinks something called a pan-galactic gargle blaster, which, according to the book, is after you drink one, it feels like you've gotten bashed in the head by a brick wrapped around a lemon. Which is more or less a direct quote from the book, even though it's off the top of my head. We used to have a nerd bar here in town that it genuinely was a nerd bar. People went there to play D&D. They went there to play WoW. They went there to do... Like, I spent a lot of time at this nerdy little bar, and one of my favorite drinks was their Pan-Galactic Gargle Blaster, and it was essentially like a Long Island iced tea, but very lemony, and I had one, and it fucked me up.
Well, yeah.
And that was like the first drink that I got there, because after one, you're just like, holy shit, where's a brick wrapped in lemons? And yeah, I would really like to watch Hitchhiker's Guide again because it's a great film. But Sam Rockwell is perfect, and I love him so much.
He plays the main character in a Chuck Palahniuk movie called Choke, written and directed by Clark Gregg.
Who we may or may not have incidentally named our child after.
Well, one of his characters. Sam Rockwell plays the main character. Essentially, he's a sex-addicted con man who is trying to pay his mother's hospital bills.
Isn't that so Chuck Palahniuk?
And so the way he gets people to give him money is that he pretends, but he also does it for real. Goes to restaurants and he purposely chokes on food. And a rich patron who feels sorry for him.
Yeah, I'm looking at the literal shelf of Chuck Palahniuk books right next to you, and it's right there.
Yep.
Yeah. How have I not seen this movie?
And the movie is over there somewhere.
Yeah. How have I not watched it?
I don't know. But it's he plays on the sympathies of others at the restaurant to give him money, he whatever after they rescue him, after they save his life. They're like, oh, here, take some money, and so then he uses that towards
might be a
helping paying his
idea.
mom's hospital bills. But it's him and Angelica Houston and Kelly MacDonald who plays
Kelly MacDonald. Yes, I've known her for
plays big red hair character
Merida.
Yeah. In
Brave.
Yeah, thank you.
This is why we're married, folks.
And but yeah, I would people should check out Choke and Moon for sure. He was also a great villain in the Charlie's Angels movie, the one with Drew Barrymore and Lucy Liu and Cameron Diaz.
Yeah, the one that matters. Nobody ever remembers the remake.
The remake with
Kristen Stewart.
Yeah.
I love Sam Rockwell.
And oh my god, he plays Guy in Galaxy Quest.
Fucking Guy in Galaxy Quest.
Oh, that is such a great character. And then he
red shirt that survives.
And then you go completely on the other side of that, and he plays Wild Bill in The Green Mile.
Oh, fuck.
Remember that?
I forgot about The Green
Remember
Mile.
how insane that character is?
See, I remember Doug Hutchinson from The Green Mile, but I don't remember. Yeah, and he was the one that actually killed the little girls that Michael Clark Duncan
gets
died
killed for.
Yeah.
It's...
The Green Miles.
Did that. Those two movies came out the same year. That's the same actor
insane.
Doing so different performances the same year.
Yeah, I mean, The Green Mile is probably the first movie I ever saw him in.
Probably.
I was obsessed with that film.
Yeah, I don't think I know any of his movies before that.
A, I would love to rewatch The Green Mile. B, when it comes to Stephen King movies. So I literally had a dream last night that Tom Hiddleston was trying to convince me to go see The Life of Chuck, which is like the new Stephen King movie that's out, but it's like, heartfelt Stephen King instead of like weird Stephen King, but it's still kind of weird, but not spooky. And I want to see The Life of Chuck, but I'm not going to pay to see it in theaters, Tom Hiddleston. I'm so sorry. I will watch that movie when it streams onto my platform that I already have it streamed, that I've already been paying for, but I'm not going to go see it in film. But I literally had a dream last night where Tom Hiddleston was like, go see this movie. And I was like, do I have to? But that makes me think of my favorite all-time Stephen King movies. And my favorite all-time Stephen King movie is The Green Mile. That movie, that book, the novelette, I believe, is perfection. And Tom Hanks is so good in it. And fucking Michael Clarke Duncan, pour one out to the king of Michael Clarke Duncan. May, rest in peace to the man. But yeah, Sam Rockwell, we love you so much. And he's great in this film. Like, his role as Captain Klenzendorf, a clearly gay man who has given his all to the German army and has gotten nothing in return and seems disillusioned the more and more it goes along. His protection of Jojo, his protection of Jojo is how Jojo is able to survive this film, is because that behind the scenes, Sam Rockwell's character is protecting that child since Rosie can't anymore because she's gone. And while we never know what the history is between Sam Rockwell and Scarlett Johansson's characters, he cares for Jojo and saves his life time and time again, and it's beautiful, and he's wonderful in it.
Next, we've got, I'm going to go with Alfie Allen, just because, we just did Sam Rockwell. So
and their characters are very...
His gay lover, Alfie Allen. Alfie, I first saw as Theon Greyjoy in the Game of Thrones series.
Technically, I first saw him in The Other Boleyn Girl because I saw that movie in theater, unfortunately.
Yeah, I did see that, but
he had
a
tiny part, and we don't remember him.
Yeah.
I think that, going through his IMDb, I really kind of remember him most from... Oh, he's in Atonement, but I don't remember that film either, or him in that film. But I am going to make you watch Atonement for season 2. So buckle up, motherfucker. He was in Spaced? Huh. And Elizabeth? Oh my god. How long has this guy been acting? Alfie Allen, mostly we know him as Theon Greyjoy from Game of Thrones, where he played such a sniveling little piece of shit who got his time and time again, and then ultimately got a hero's death? I don't remember. He protected
Arya
from the Night King?
Not
or
Arya.
Sansa from the Night King?
Did he protect
No,
her
I thought that he dies in the Battle of Winterfell by protecting Arya. Like, he was the last person.
Oh yeah, because
I was thinking
because he escaped the one castle with Sansa.
Yeah, he
they jumped over
Sansa's
the wall
life.
together, but then they separate, and then I think
he eventually comes back and he saves her. He is the last person that the Night King goes through before he gets to Arya.
Arya, who ultimately killed him.
Yeah. So he's protecting Arya and what's his face in the chair?
The character Bran.
Bran. Look, I don't care for Game of Thrones the way that you do. But that fucking episode is so good. I mean, look, the last season is what it is, and we can all agree that it wasn't great. But that episode where the Battle of Winterfell was fucking beautiful, and that 9-minute song, The Night King by the composer of Game of Thrones, whose name I can't remember at the moment.
Altered Westworld.
Yeah, that is such a beautiful song that I've listened to it.
It begins with a D.
Ramen Djawadi. Djawadi. Djawadi.
Yeah, Alfie Allen.
We were talking about him.
Yeah, that's why we're talking. I know he was in the Predator movie with I think that was the Shane Black Predator movie. He
was in John Wick. He always kind of plays like a slimy, greasy little character.
I actually really like him in John Wick.
Oh yeah, he's the one that starts the John Wick.
He starts John Wick. Yeah,
it is Alfie Allen's fault that John Wick goes out there and wicks his way across the universe.
John Wikipedia.
I really like he's got a small part in Jojo Rabbit. Like, he's mainly in the background. He plays...
Yeah, maybe a line in the whole
he's
movie?
got a few. He's got a couple.
It's not many.
It's not many, but he's...
Less than 20 words, I think.
Yeah. A handsome man. I mean, he got paid to just hang out with Sam Rockwell on set all day.
I would love that job.
Which, fucking God, right? In fact, I know we're going to talk about her in a second, but Rebel Wilson talks about how this particular movie is one of her favorites because she literally just got paid to hang out in the Czech Republic for a month when she did like 13, 14 hours of filming.
That's awesome.
But she spent a whole month there and got paid to do it. Alfie Allen, yeah, he's delightful. I look forward to seeing more from him.
Well, next we have Rebel Wilson, who has been in a lot of things.
She's been in a lot of fucking things. So, you know what I mean when I say that at a certain point, a person gets annoying because of who they are as a human being? Like, an actor gets annoying.
Kind of like Awkwafina.
Yes. Rebel Wilson is one of those people where, like, you're like, oh, she's really fun in this, and now she's in this, and she's still kind of fun, and now she's in this, and okay, she's as fun, but it's getting annoying, and then you're just like, go away!
I think one of the first times where she became a lot of fun was probably Bridesmaids.
Yes, I think for me,
did you not like her in Bridesmaids?
I don't remember. Okay.
You don't remember Bridesmaids?
No.
Oh my.
I remember. First of all, I watched Bridesmaids. Well, I mean, it's been a year at least since the last time I watched it. But
like, that was your
the
movie.
first time I watched Bridesmaids, I was not thinking about Rebel Wilson.
No, but you've seen it many times.
Yes,
and you've seen Rebel Wilson.
Yeah, and she's fine in it. First of all, she's paired with Matt Lucas, who I hate so much. And so that is immediately an annoying pair. I didn't really like the character that she plays in Bridesmaids.
I mean, yeah, it is her role. Her and
roommate,
Matt Lucas are it's
annoying.
A dumb, unneeded thing. But I'm like, she's at least okay. So
for me, when it comes to Rebel Wilson, the first thing that Pitch Perfect, yeah. Because Pitch Perfect as Fat Amy, she's so fucking good in. And that first Pitch Perfect movie is absolutely one of my favorites. Is it almost a direct retelling of What's Love Got to Do with It? Absolutely. Or is it Step It Up? Or, I mean, like, the idea of the underdogs who come back and are able to win the thing big. It's been done time and time again.
Sure,
but
like any sport movie or competition movie, essentially.
And it follows it literally to the T.
Yeah. And we love them, and we eat them up. And
we love them, and we eat it up. I love that first Pitch Perfect movie. The second one is okay.
It's okay, yeah.
The third one, I don't remember. But, like, I loved her in that. But then all of a sudden, she just started appearing in everything, and her character was never anything but Fat Amy. And then when I went back and rewatched Bridesmaids, I was like, oh, I really don't like her in this. And it just got to be too goddamn much. And then she pops up in this movie, and she's fine. You know, she has a handful of roles. She got paid to live in the Czech Republic for a month and work for a week.
Sounds like a great time.
And what a great job. Good for her. But I mean, this character could be played by anyone. It just happens to be played by Rebel Wilson. Who doesn't love punching a good Nazi?
Indiana Jones doesn't really make fun of Nazis, but God, do they punch them and shoot them and run over them and set them on fire?
You know what?
Chop them up with rotor blades.
I was talking today with a coworker about why I don't feel comfortable going out and being a part of the big protests because, you know, physically it would be very uncomfortable for me. But also, ultimately...
We're not big on crowds.
We're not big on crowds.
Whether it's protests
or pride or just
a party.
The mall at Christmas. Like, crowds have become a thing for me. I was also telling this coworker that I would feel ashamed if my sign wasn't up to snuff without, it's like, if I didn't come up with a good pun or a good sign, I would be upset. But honestly, what my sign would read was, if punching Nazis is good enough for Indiana Jones, then it's good enough for me. Because that's the truth of it. We need to punch more Nazis and make fun of them. What a bunch of cunts.
I completely forgot that he was in it, but I was so happy when I saw him, even though he's playing
fucking Nazi,
but he plays it so well. Stephen Merchant,
who already, by the way, is a giant of a man.
I would say the better half of Ricky Gervais.
He's 6'7" and 3/4. He is so tall.
Tall.
In the scene where he stands, like, because there's a moment, he's got a small cameo, not cameo, but he's a very small part in this film. But there's a moment where Stephen Merchant is talking to Sam Rockwell.
Yes.
There's a moment where Stephen Merchant is talking to Sam Rockwell, and you see them on screen, and Stephen Merchant is literally towering over Sam Rockwell. He even stood on an apple box in order to really achieve the height difference. But Stephen Merchant is one of the tallest men ever. He's so fucking tall.
He is.
He's so fucking funny.
I love Stephen Merchant.
My
people
God.
might remember him. He played Caliban in Logan.
Yeah.
But more than anything else, he is a writer, a producer. Most of the stuff he does is behind the scenes for shows like Extras.
Yeah.
And
The Ricky Gervais Show.
The Ricky Gervais Show.
Yeah,
He's been
he's done
on
a lot of
forever.
stand-up.
He was also a writer on the original Office.
One of my favorite
case
things in the
people
whole
wondering.
world, and I don't know how it would stand up now because it's hard to say, but there was once this brilliant, brilliant little man named Carl Pinkerton. And Carl Pinkerton was a random person that Ricky Gervais and Stephen Merchant found. He is a British man, and he lives by
just a lifetime ago.
That was a lifetime ago. That
I
was
almost forgot
another
that even
universe
existed.
with Carl Pinkerton. Pinkington. And he's just this weird little man with weird little ideals. And, he lived in his little British town. He never wanted to leave.
No.
He had a lot of very strange ideas about things because he was so sheltered. And Stephen Merchant and Ricky Gervais thought it would be so fucking funny to take this man and send him out into the world.
Go out.
And
Not just the world, but go, travel to other countries.
Go to India and experience the life of India. Go to China and experience the life
But this is a guy who is uncomfortable just going to London. He would be so uncomfortable just being in London.
Going to London.
Yeah.
And so then they're sending him to fucking India and China and South America. And the world through Carl Pinkerton's eyes was one of my favorite things. I really should watch The Idiot Abroad again. Unfortunately,
That's
it doesn't
right.
look like it's streaming anywhere.
Probably not. Idiot Abroad.
But they sent this man out into the world and got back pure genius. One of my favorite Carl Pinkerton quotes was, "If I had lobster hands, I think that I could get by." He's such a fucking dork, and I love him so much. Also, Stephen Merchant was responsible for a great little show called Life's Too Short, which was a mockumentary about the day-to-day life of incredible actor Warwick Davis.
That was such a good show.
It was such a funny fucking show. And again, so funny, so cute, not available to stream anywhere.
It's too bad.
And
God, not even on BritBox or anything?
Nothing.
God.
It's not out there at all. And the funny thing is that
Why
it's
is everybody
not
getting rid of Warwick Davis' work?
I know, right? Jesus Christ. Maybe after, God forbid, long from now, the day he passes.
No, don't.
Long from now, 20, 25 years from now, they'll re-release all this stuff. I don't particularly like Ricky Gervais. I enjoy him, but he can be such an asshole, too much of an asshole at times. But I always found that Stephen Merchant kind of eased that out. So I will never forget the day that we watched this movie for the first time.
Oh, wow.
We did not see this movie in theaters.
No.
But we saw the trailer and we loved Taika Waititi, and so we flat out bought the Blu-ray.
Yes, I was just
Yeah.
because we trusted everything.
Yeah.
Everything.
How could we not love it?
Everything lined up. I
Yeah.
think we had even heard that it was, obviously we had heard that it was a good movie.
Yeah. Yeah, we had heard a thing or two.
People were raving about it.
This was pre-Oscars, but we knew it had been nominated for some, at least.
I think so.
And the reason why I will never forget this particular day is because it was right before the pandemic. It was right after I dyed my hair purple. It was right before the pandemic really hit and shut everything down. And it was a day that we decided you had just gotten a bonus from your job and had gotten a good amount of money for it. And things were sitting pretty for us. So we decided that we were going to go to our local favorite expensive artisan bar in town while the kids were at school and get a little day drunk and have a nice lunch. And before that, we decided we were going to watch Jojo Rabbit. And I went into this movie being like, oh, it's a World War II movie, so it's going to be sad, but it can't be that sad. Well, I was fucking wrong across the board. And we watched this movie play out in front of us. I cried my soul out of my body. And we sat there after it ended and we looked at each other and we're like, well, we're still going to go have lunch at that restaurant, right? And we're like, yeah. And so we went off and we had lunch at that restaurant and we got a little day drunk on really, really good artisan cocktails. And then we, and I had my purple hair and I was taking pictures of me with my purple hair. And then we went home to our children. And then life turned upside down. But I'll never forget that day because I always think about how that was kind of like the last time that one of the last times that you and I had like a good, fun day out right before the pandemic. And how this movie played into that.
I think you and I went to the four of us all went to a hockey game.
We went to a hockey game. And then you and I went to see Birds of Prey.
That's right.
And then the world shut down.
And then we
completely.
never did anything out in public again for
months.
Way
and months
too
and months
long.
And months, yeah. So I've always associated this movie with that heartbreak and that sort of dread of the pandemic looming over us. Because, we knew that it was happening. We knew that there was some weird virus in China. And then all of a sudden they're like, oh, the virus is in America now. And now it's way too goddamn close to where we lived at the time. I watched this movie once and I was devastated by it. And I wish so badly I could say the word devastated like Nick Kroll can as Lola.
I'm lesbians with my mom.
And so I was like, fuck this movie. It hurt too much. I'll never watch it again. And I was talking to a coworker today about it. And she said that movie has an exceptional gut punch. And that's true. Because the reason why I've never gone back to rewatch this movie is because of the absolute exceptional gut punch.
Exceptional.
Of Jojo finding his mother hung in the square as a traitor. And the way that he finds her is by following a butterfly and seeing her shoes. Her shoes, which, when you rewatch the movie, you're like, they're paying a lot of attention to these fucking shoes.
Make sure. They make sure that you know what those shoes look like,
Yes.
so that when you see them later hanging in front of his face,
you know what it means.
You immediately know whose shoes those are.
Yeah.
And it's to me, that is just brilliant filmmaking.
It's exceptional.
Being able to... It happens subtly at the beginning. Like, first, she's not wearing those shoes. And then eventually, once you see...
But they're also calling attention to the fact that he can't tie his own shoes.
Yes.
That he's 11 and he doesn't know how to tie his shoes.
Right.
And
then they eventually... She wears the shoes.
Yeah, a couple of times.
A couple times, but they don't draw too much attention to it. They're like...
Just enough.
But we see them.
Yeah.
We're noticing them because we're looking for them.
Yeah.
When you're watching the first time, they're not... The camera is not like... It's not in Jojo's perspective, which is, his essentially his height.
Yeah.
And where his mom is always walking above him, climbing on things, being a really fun,
goofy mom
with him during what else are you going to do during World War II?
You do what you can.
You could do what you can. You do what you can to laugh. You do what you can to live and not immediately think about all the atrocities happening around you.
They didn't even know what was really happening too. Like they had the world
well,
at large.
In Jojo's mind, he's living in the hero country.
Yeah.
The country that's doing everything correct. Everybody else is doing the wrong thing, and when you're a kid, you will believe that you live in the country that's the best because everybody around you is telling you it's the best.
And all the propaganda and it all works on children.
It works on children, which, that's why a lot of, whether it be politicians or war factions or religion,
dicks.
They want you.
Bunch of cunts.
They all want you when you're at your youngest because you're the easiest
they're
to
the most
mold to their whatever liking they want you to be at. And
I'm so glad we molded our children into good people.
Yeah, and we're guilty of that.
Guilty?
Yes. And,
I don't think the word guilt has anything to do with it.
I am guilty of being a good parent. I will absolutely be yes, Your Honor.
Yeah.
I am guilty of being a great parent.
I taught my children
the
right way.
How compassion and love and respect for others. Why is that so hard?
Why is that so hard?
I don't understand why.
Why am I crying right now?
Everybody else...
Am I drunk? Is that the problem? It's horrifying to raise your children in a world of uncertainty. And every parent has had to raise their children in a world of uncertainty, but it feels somehow worse now because we genuinely don't know if we've got...
We didn't think that this was going to happen in our lifetime.
We didn't think that this was going to happen.
Because we thought that was
lifetime.
something that happened in the 40s.
Yeah, because of course it could happen in the 40s when people weren't as educated.
Or 30s, 20s,
yeah, like,
teens of the 20th century.
How could
the 20th century was a fucked up century.
Robin just went into a box. When in doubt, the cat always makes everything better.
The entire 20th century was fucked up.
Yeah. And then we thought maybe it would be better.
Maybe this new century will be better because we've learned from our mistakes and the future will be better.
Less than 2 years in, we watched the world crumble and it's never been the same since. America has never been the same since.
No.
And it hurts so much to have children in this world where you're like, is the world itself going to be okay in 50 years? Like global warming and everything else that's happening, in terms of like physically how the world is going to be. Is that going to be okay? We don't know.
I feel like I'm lucky.
Yeah.
Because there's a good chance. I mean, who knows with the political climate right now, what my chances of living are.
Yeah, right.
But in traditional American terms, I have a good chance to die of old age or cancer.
Yeah.
Those are at least heart
Yeah,
attack, definitely.
Yeah. Something natural.
One of those, natural American ways of dying.
Yeah.
Or gunshot wound.
Yeah.
So.
At your job.
Right.
On the clock.
But there's a generation that's probably not that far away that will probably die from starvation.
Radiation poisoning. Flooding because the ice cap melted. And quite horrifyingly, that generation is sitting on our couch right now while we record this. And so there is nothing more terrifying than being a parent raising your kid in an uncertain world. And I think that I did not like this movie for so long. I was always like, fuck Jojo Rabbit. I'm never going to watch it again. I was so unhappy to watch it on this list. But that's because I think it broke me so spectacularly. And as a parent who knows that she would be murdered by a fascist regime for doing the right thing, a nameless hero in the face of fascism, murdered for doing the right thing. You know, my name is never remembered, but my soul will always be for saving a life. Like, I think that just broke me to the point where I was like, I don't want to watch this movie again because I see too much of myself in it. And that's why I didn't like this movie. It's why I did. By the way, if you hear any ruckus in the background, producer Robin has discovered
boxes. There was a box.
And now he's in it. And he wants to be known in his sweet little psychotic tuxedo cat way. This movie, I think, hit a little bit too close to home because if I was in Germany in the 40s, I would be Rosie. You would be gone. I mean, I don't think it ever is even really ever figured out.
I would have been shoveled off to war.
Yeah, and either dead or like, is Jojo's dad?
As a German soldier, I'm probably dead.
Yeah, but like, did his dad abandon because they say that his dad like abandoned the army and went off to fight for the resistance. But is he still alive? Is he not? We don't know.
They never say
Jojo,
because it's not important. But I think we can all agree that the guy probably is dead.
Jojo is gone. His mom is gone, murdered by his town. And he discovers her body, and it is exceptional heartbreak. And even the end of the movie, when him and Elsa are dancing to Heroes, a German version of Heroes by David Bowie, which, by the way, is like my second favorite Bowie song of all time. My first being Modern Love, and I will not take any comments on that, by the way. Modern Love is a fucking bop, and I love that song. But Heroes is a solid second.
I'm Afraid of Americans is really relevant right now.
Fucking yeah. God damn it, I missed it. Shit got weird once Bowie left. When Alan Rickman and Bowie left us, this world went...
They all died the same year.
And it fucking turned this world on its head, and nothing has ever been the same since.
You know what I really love about this movie?
What do you love about this movie?
Goofy
I need to stop
Adolf
crying.
Hitler.
Fucking what a cunt.
Oh my god. Like,
Taika
plays him so well.
I know.
And he plays him so goofy and dumb. And I also I do enjoy the fact that in Jojo's imagination, he imagines Adolf Hitler as Taika Waititi. That's the way he looks, is that look. Even though all around him, all the propaganda, all the pictures, are all like actual
Hitler. Yeah.
photos. And one of my favorite little gags is when he's putting up pictures and it's got Hitler's
he's putting up
face on
some
it,
propaganda.
and it's
Yeah.
Taika's face, and he like sticks it on with glue, and as he's going back and forth with
his face is like changing.
his face changes from like
angry, happy,
like
sad,
and then it
annoyed.
turns into
Yeah.
like actual Hitler's face at the
What a
end.
fucking Hitler was such a cunt. You know what is also very funny too is that obviously Jojo knows nothing about Hitler because Hitler was famously anti-smoking and a vegetarian, and it shows Taika's Hitler is like constantly offering Jojo cigarettes and eating meat. So not only does Jojo not really know who Hitler is, he's just this leader figure, right? Who
Well, yeah, Jojo has just been told that this is the most famous person in your life.
Yeah, in your life. And so
like,
you're going to... And the other thing, too, is that, like, a 10 and 11-year-old boy should look up to his father as his number one hero. Like, that's how it should be. But his father is gone, so he's looking up to, quote-unquote, the hero of the country. He's not. He's a cunt. But, you know, and so that's his imaginary friend. And... it's when he throws himself out of the window, it's so goddamn funny.
When he kicks him out the window?
Yeah. Well, no, like actually when Hitler himself like runs in, he's like, "Oh, I've got to go," and he runs and jumps out the window.
Yeah.
God damn it, is that funny? And who else could have been Hitler but Taika Waititi?
The opening of the movie, I think, really sets the tone. Not only does it set time period, and we're in Germany, and this is Hitler.
Yeah.
You know that Jojo is imagining this person.
Yeah.
But you also see, I forget what joke they use at the beginning, but it essentially lets you know, yes, this is Hitler, but we're playing him goofy.
Yeah.
And yeah, obviously this is not
yes, this is Hitler,
to be taken seriously.
But Hitler's a cunt.
Exactly. And after that quick little intro to Hitler, I was laughing during the opening because they were using audio from the Beatles' Hard Day's Night.
Yeah, the German I Want to Hold Your Hand.
Yeah, with the cheering fans.
Yes.
And like,
but actually recorded footage by the Beatles too.
Well, I'm sure it was.
Yeah, because they famously performed in Germany for a year or so before they kind of became big in Liverpool. Like they started out they started out in Liverpool and then they went to Germany and made it big and then they went back to Liverpool and made it even bigger. But famously, yeah, there is a lot of German covers of Beatles songs by the Beatles themselves.
But I enjoyed that was the audio, but you're seeing
like the Hitler Youth.
Marching.
Yeah.
Hitler saluting
just all the
Nazi
Hitler
flags.
propaganda.
But it's like everybody going, no, I like it because it's like everybody...
insane, like they would have gone for the Beatles.
Right.
It was Beatlemania,
it was Beatlemania, but it was people...
Yeah, it was fucking Hitlermania. Which is another thing that I find comforting about our current horrifying situation as Americans, is that I think that this country is too big to fully ever be run by a dictatorship because there is too many of us that are like, fuck that guy. Like... we're not, like, look, this country might have a lot of people who are willing to drink the Kool-Aid, let's put it politely in that way, but it's not all of us. Whereas Germany was a smaller country, it was suffering from, you know, the fuck up that was World War I, and, you know, that cunt Hitler swooped in and did things at the right time in the right place and managed to fuck everything up for everyone. As much as I know that there are people out there who are just as fanatic for Hitler as they are for other people that are currently in our administration as Americans, but it's not the whole country, and it never will be. And at the very least, that gives me hope.
I wrote, I like the way Taika is not playing Hitler, but Jojo's imagination of Hitler.
Oh, God. The amount of quotes that, because people were like, Taika, what was it like to play Hitler? And he just had so much fun with being like, fuck that guy. What a piece of shit. What a cunt.
Yeah. Scarlett Johansson, like you said, does a great job.
She does great.
Her playfulness and just the way her and Jojo, the actor who plays Jojo.
Yeah, they have great chemistry.
So great chemistry. The games
so
that
natural.
she plays with him.
Yeah. When she's playing the father who's come back from war.
That was so good.
That broke me.
That was her best acting, I think, in the whole one, except for like other than like moments where she gets to just sit down and talk to Jojo or Elsa.
Yeah.
She played that when she puts that on. Like I love how she's quickly grabbed the soot and put it all over
Smears
her
it across
chin,
her face.
but her lipstick is perfect.
Yes.
Like
can't
you
fuck
could
up
see
a
that
good
there's a
lip.
perfect separation of lipstick versus soot. But that was still like she becomes the father and yells at him and then has the two of them have a conversation. It was she did such a good job with that.
Like again, I dislike Scarlett Johansson for weird reasons. This movie is kind of proof that I'm wrong in that. And as a human being, I'm willing to admit when I am wrong. And she deserves every accolade she got for this film, even if it's just nominations, because she's flawless. I wrote maybe a 2/3 of a page of notes for this book, or for this movie. I wrote very, very little, and a lot of it is just how good Scarlett is.
It's hard when you get such a good movie that
Yeah.
you don't want to take your eyes off of it. It's so hard to write notes, but
It really is. Can we just talk really quickly about Jojo? Because we've talked about finding the mom. We've talked about. I mean, we haven't talked a lot about Elsa and her struggle. The fact that she's the mother, Rosie, is hiding this young Jewish girl who is the same age as her daughter who died.
Yeah.
She's trying to save a life.
Her and her daughter were friends.
They were friends, yeah.
The relationship that her and Jojo end up having, especially at the beginning, was really funny.
Oh, it's so
the
good.
The way she would play as like, yes, we are monsters.
Yeah.
And I have horns in my hair. And,
Look at all the things that Jews are.
Yeah.
And like, you were right. You should
that.
write this. And the book.
Yeah, the book.
Yeah. Is so delightfully wonderful and terrible and beautiful all at
The
once.
scene with her pretending to be the sister and giving her papers to
scene, and she
Rockwell,
gets
and then she gets the birthday wrong, and Rockwell doesn't care.
But here's the thing too, is that Sam Rockwell, as a gay man, his character is a gay man who is marginalized and threatened by the regime.
Sure,
when he
has a lot of reason to say "fuck you"
has
to
a lot
the
of reasons.
Nazi party,
and even building up to that, he seems very, at most, indifferent about the Nazi party and its regime.
And he seemed like he respected and loved Rosie.
He loved Rosie, and he protected Jojo.
Yeah.
At the end, when he was like, "Who are you, kid? Get the fuck out of here!"
Oh yeah, and then kicks him out so that he doesn't
right
get
before
shot.
He gets shot in a firing squad.
In a firing squad, yeah.
And he's in his flamboyant outfit and his pink triangles, which, if you know anything about queer history, you understand what the pink triangle is. Like, it's a beautiful thing. So we've talked a lot about all of that. But Jojo's little friend, Yorkie, his little chubby friend in the glasses.
Played by Archie Yates.
Yes, who's delightful, by the way, and long may he reign, because God is he fucking funny. Every scene he's in this movie steals it. But him in the paper uniform with, like, no real weapons is constantly hysterical. How he always pops up and he's just like, "Jojo!" and he gives Jojo a big hug, and he's affectionate and he's loving. Like, what a perfect Taika Waititi character Yorkie is. But just that paper costume, because that's all that Germany could afford to put their soldiers in. A soldier at 11.
He played this kid, Archie Yates. He played, I think it was a spin-off. I don't think it was a direct sequel, but it was a spin-off of the Home Alone series.
Oh, yeah, I remember that. Yeah. He's a very cute little kid, but fuck is he funny in this movie. This movie
he's adorable.
This movie is great. I think that I had a long time distaste of this movie for the absolute utter destruction that it caused in my soul. And over the course of the pandemic and over the course of just life in the 5 years between the first time I saw this movie and the second time I saw this movie, I got to the point where I was like, you know what? Fuck Jojo Rabbit. Like, I don't ever want to watch that movie again. That movie's terrible. Fuck it. I hate it. I'm wrong about that. I'm wrong about it because this movie is beautiful. I love that it shows the reality of Germans, that they were like into fashion and into color. I mean, every other World War II movie you see is so drab and everybody's in brown and gray and everybody's just like, oh, woe is me. Whereas in this movie, it kind of shows this like thriving, vibrant, colorful Germany that even though like the Third Reich is failing and the war is going to end badly for all of us, we're still going to party. Woohoo. Just currently how it feels to be an American. This movie is beautiful. And there's so many things to talk about. The cinematography is great in this film. I mean, if nothing else, just for the shoes that lead to the absolute agony that is when we discover that Rosie is dead. You know, the chemistry between Jojo and Elsie is so pure. And the tense, like, horrifying realism of when the fucking... the Nazis come and search his house, and you don't know that Rosie's dead yet.
Oh,
you don't know that Rosie's gone. And then, Elsa has to pretend to be his older sister. And then, Sam Rockwell appears out of nowhere, purely out of protection for the boy. Again,
I'm wondering...
the way that he protects that boy.
Well, I'm guessing that he knew...
what was happening.
That Rosie...
was on her way out.
Well,
I don't think she's dead by that point. I think that they're trying to find her, which is why they searched the house.
Oh, I figured that they
already
knew she was either already arrested, and then
they might
just
have
came to the home to look for more.
Because we will never know what happened to her.
Right.
And
we don't know how she got caught,
and I'm also okay with that because this movie is a point of view of World War II from an 11-year-old's eyes, who starts out being a Hitler youth and ends up freeing a Jewish girl and saving her life and dancing. Because, when you're free, you dance, and you dance to David Bowie. History is so important, and it's important to see these stories because this is a very unique World War II story, right? It's from the point of view of a child. It's from the point of view of a kid in Germany who believed that Hitler was right and then all of a sudden had his life changed and his mind changed by interacting with the person he was sworn to hate.
Yeah, there are certain...
Like, it's a beautiful story of what humanity can come if we overcome our own prejudices.
This is the great thing about films and documentaries is a lot of times we need reminder, even if the 66% of millennials have never heard of Auschwitz, even if that's true, not true, doesn't matter.
Yeah.
It's important for people to be reminded because even if the millennials do know, the generation younger than us, maybe what's the percentage of that generation that doesn't know?
Auschwitz. Actually, let's double check. Hey kids, do you know what Auschwitz is? Do you know, if I were to say the term Auschwitz to you, do you know what that means? No. But do you guys know what the Germans did to the Jews in World War II?
Yeah.
Yeah? You know, Jack, what the Germans did to the Jews in World War II? Mm-hmm. Yeah. But you don't know what Auschwitz is? Well,
do you know what the camps were that they were sent to?
Auschwitz
is one of the camps, one of the biggest camps.
Yeah.
But do you know what they did to them in those camps?
Tortured them and stuff is the response that we just got.
And Jack said, huh?
Yeah. So, I mean, to be fair, they're middle school, high schoolers. They still have a lot to learn. But it is...
I would feel... God damn.
I know it's horrifying. But we as human beings have a responsibility to teach our children.
And films like this are part of the thing that helps.
It's part of the thing that
there
helps.
There are many different ways, different mediums, television shows, music, having a conversation, history class.
The History Channel, which is just all Hitler all the time.
I mean, sometimes it is.
Hitler's secret weapons on the History Channel.
Netflix has some amazing real footage documentaries right now. And, maybe this means that if schools aren't going to teach our kids about these kind of atrocities, maybe that then is now the responsibility of the parent. Maybe we have a sit down with the kids and explain to them, some things that have happened in the past and try to make it so that our kids aren't part of that 66% that's probably growing, unfortunately. So films help remind us about many things. And sometimes, as uncomfortable as those subjects sometimes are for us,
Yeah, and how much it might hurt the soul to watch them.
it's very important to watch a lot of these things. Schindler's List is
I don't ever want to watch it, but I have to watch it. This is going to be on the next season.
It probably will
it?
be, and it will probably.
I don't know if I can handle that
I haven't
movie.
seen it in
I've never seen
over
it
a decade
because I was like, I don't think I can watch this
It is
film.
so important of a film to watch. Unfortunately,
I mean,
we
we
live in
need to
that
show
world.
our children it if they
And
don't know what Auschwitz is, but they know what concentration
Zone of
camps
Interest
are.
is
I'm
an
gonna-
amazing
Caveman,
movie
Caveman, I will watch that movie with you.
for the podcast. At
Yes.
least.
And for the podcast, without the podcast, I was thinking about it after. I was thinking about it after Jojo Rabbit, and because I was thinking about how perspective, and perspective through art changes how we understand history. Right?
Sure, yeah.
I was just recently listening to our Black Panther episode, and literally just on my own, I was like, oh, I've got like half an hour left in this Black Panther episode. And when I came into it, it was me talking about how art has taught me about culture, right? But art also teaches us about history. And I have no desire to see Zone of Interest. And that movie in itself terrifies me because I don't want to know how I'm going to react to it emotionally. And I know how I react to films emotionally. I know how it hits me. I know how they cripple me for days on end. And I don't want that. But I have to do it to be a better person, to understand our own history. So yeah, art is important not to just understand other cultures, but art's important to understand our history, our stance in history, what has actually happened, and to remind us that Hitler was a cunt and needs to be making fun of as often as humanly possible. Yes, it is important to show the atrocities and the horrible things that Hitler did and what he created and what his impact has left him in the world. It's absolutely very, very important to remember that through our art and through our history. But it's also important to remember what a piece of shit we should make fun of him. Because all of our leaders and all of our dictators and all of our totalitarian regimes and all of our fucking terrible, tiny penis men who are out there or were out there destroying this world because they've got a small dick and they just are railing against the universe, but somehow have the power to influence other people. It is important to remember through satire and through history that those people are cunts. Yes, it's a bunch of jokes, and yes, it's very silly, but this is still life in Germany at the end of this point, which, by the way, life in Germany at the end of World War II, the most I ever got out of it was like episode 9 of Band of Brothers. Like, you rarely get that point of view of what it was like to be a German living in, 1942, 1943 Germany, just being like, what the fuck is happening? Where is my husband? I just want to make him schnitzel and my husband is gone and I don't like this Hitler man. What do I do?
That episode of Band of Brothers was like, wow, what a different point of view on German.
But we don't get that a lot. We don't get a lot of what it was like to be a German in World War II. And maybe
all quiet on the Western Front.
Oh fuck! Well, that was World War I. But
still,
maybe Zone of Interest is an important movie to watch for me. I don't want to watch it because I don't want to be devastated, but I have to be, because you have to confront your history and the history of mankind and the horrible things that we have done in order to not be a piece of shit cunt. So yes, Caveman, I will watch Zone of Interest with you. I know it's one of your favorite films ever, and it will probably be one of mine too, but it's going to wreck me emotionally, and you are going to need immediate Phineas and Ferb, Kentucky whiskey, and like fucking a brand new kitten to cuddle after I watch that movie. Yeah, so buckle up, buckaroo.
What would you give Jojo Rabbit?
I'm going to give it a 4.5. That's what my gut says.
Which
is so much higher than if you'd asked me a week ago, before the movie, I've been like, fuck it, 2 stars. Fuck that movie. But I realize now that it was my own emotional bias and fear preventing me from seeing what a really gorgeous movie this is. I didn't want to rewatch this movie. And like I said last week on the podcast, there have been countless of these movies that I've watched for the first time that I'm like, fuck it, I'll never watch it again. Maybe I need to. Like, I think it's...
We've talked about it on this podcast.
Talked about
you
it
have
before.
to watch
You
some
have to
movies,
watch a
and
movie
maybe
twice.
all
Yeah.
movies. You
Twice.
need to at least watch twice.
So that you can really understand what's happening and what's being said.
I mean, there are some
during
movies
it.
that you watch it once, you're like, God damn, that was absolutely
Like, will
dog
I ever
shit.
watch Moonfall again? No.
No.
Do I fucking love Moonfall? Yes. So much. But it's just important to... You know, it is important to remember that you have to watch movies twice. You have to give stories like this a second chance because...
Especially movies that you anticipate or even movies that do like this that maybe make you feel something that you weren't prepared to feel.
Yeah, I wasn't prepared to feel this
And
that
it makes
day
you
in
angry that it made you feel that way.
Yeah.
And then you need to watch it a second time to know.
Will Jojo Rabbit be like my constant comfort movie? No, absolutely
of course not. It's not supposed to be.
No, it's not supposed to be. It is for some people because every movie is somebody's comfort movie.
It's a great comedy.
It's a great comedy, but it's an even better
the satire is
reflection of
hilarious
what life can be.
and the alternate history of it.
Please
in
make
a
a
way.
movie about Bag. Mel Brooks, if you're
I love
listening,
I love
know you are.
when Hitler comes back to
Jojo
at the end, and he
he's
has
got
the bullet
fucking
wound on his forehead.
Yeah.
Perfect.
So great.
Great.
What a cunt.
No
So
notes.
great. But yeah, I'm giving this movie 4 stars. What have you said?
I
as
said
well?
4.5 as
Yeah.
well. So Maggie,
Yes, Caveman.
I have 2 questions for you.
Hit it.
This kitchen's a bloody disaster. This is not cooking.
Oh my God.
You call this ratatouille?
What the fuck? First of all, you put basil in the ratatouille. Second of all, what?
This kitchen's a bloody disaster. This is not cooking.
Oh my God.
You call this ratatouille?
Is that Oscar doing the British accent?
That is Oscar doing the British accent.
Fucking knew it. I have no idea what that was from. That is wacky. What is that from?
Yeah, it's from one of those interviews that he's doing for Moon Knight. And so it's him and Ethan Hawke.
Oh my god, is he like pretending to be fucking Gordon Ramsay?
He is.
I love that.
It's like Ethan Hawke has to
Ethan
guess.
Hawke's
Yeah, I know. And that's pretty much the whole clip is like the whole clip is
Just
Oscar Isaac doing all these different
screaming as Gordon Ramsay.
Well, no. He only does that for one. He pretends to be a bunch of different famous people, and Ethan Hawke has to guess which people he is.
That press tour was a gift to us all who love Oscar Isaac and Ethan Hawke, and I'm grateful for it daily. Just fucking, god damn it, I love that little man so much, and I love Stephen Grant so much, and I miss him, and I want him back. Kevin Feige, bring him back. I want him back.
Anyway, Maggie.
Yeah.
I have 2 questions for you.
Okay, what's the...
First question is, would the presence of Oscar Isaac have made Jojo Rabbit a better movie?
I'm going to say yes, because I think that my initial gut reaction of being like, fuck this movie, would have been a little bit lessened if he had been in it.
A little Oscar Isaac,
Yeah,
just
a little
to
Oscar
ease
Isaac
you
just
into
to,
the movie a little bit better.
Soothe the soul, be the
But
balm
what if
of
he
the soul.
ends up playing like the worst, like Gestapo or something?
I mean, they already had Stephen Merchant as a fucking SS operator and Taika Waititi as Hitler himself.
I know.
So who else could he have been?
That's what I love, that they got Stephen Merchant to do it, because he's threatening but also goofy at the same time.
Oh, I know. Heil Hitler.
So yeah, Heil Hitler. Heil Hitler. Oh god.
Oh, what
damn.
cunt. Yeah, no, like I think my initial viewing of the movie would have been more enjoyable had he been in it, because at least it would have been like, the movie was awful, it made me cry, but at least Oscar Isaac was in it and he's pretty. Yeah.
So second question.
This is a tough question.
Which character would you have had Oscar Isaac play?
I think he would have done wonders in the Sam Rockwell character as the gay German who's just trying to survive and to protect Jojo.
I could see him playing that character very well.
And while I would be very sad to lose Sam Rockwell in this movie because he's so great in it, what I'm actually going to say is I would like a young Oscar to have been the Alfie Allen character, so that I could have seen gay Oscar Isaac on screen. Fucking give it to me, Disney. Poe and Finn are lovers, and I don't care what you say, it's true. And secondly, I think that Sam Rockwell and Oscar Isaac would have had incredible chemistry. So I'm going to go the Alfie Allen character, because it would have been nice to see him in a 1940s bathing suit. Legs. And also, I want to see him finally be able to play a gay man with his lover, even if they are doomed. And that has been this week's episode of Movie Mingle on Jojo Rabbit, and we hope that you enjoyed it as much as we surprisingly enjoyed bringing it to you. As ever, you can find us on Instagram, Threads, and Letterboxd at MovieMinglePod. You can find us on YouTube at MovieMinglePodcast, and you can write us any of your thoughts, comments, questions, and concerns at movieminglepod@gmail.com. Next week, we will be talking about the fantastic motherfucking film that is Guardians of the Galaxy 1. I'm very excited to rewatch this movie with the eye that I have now when it comes to watching movies, thanks to this silly little podcast. And so join us next week for that. We also will be dropping very soon our June bonus episode for Pride. Happy Pride, everyone. On the fantastic comedy, The Birdcage. So look for that. It's a really, really fun conversation. Thank you so much for joining us for 70 episodes. There's at least one of you out there that's listened to most of them, I would assume. Jesse, it's probably you. But either way, thank you very much for sticking with us. We are very close to the end. We're very proud of what we have done. So please continue to share and talk about and recommend this little show to your friends and family and loved ones, because we've had a great time doing it. And I feel like you've had a great time watching or listening to it, because if you haven't, well, we haven't heard anything to tell us that. So we're just going to assume that you all liked it. But yeah, 70 episodes. We're really proud of it. And thank you so much for that. Please continue to share and rate and love this little podcast so that it can grow and find the audience that is out there looking for it. Please take care of yourselves in this big, wide, crazy world. It's scary out there. It is sometimes overwhelming. But just remember that love and kindness are always the key to survive. They're always the things that will help us get through to the next day. I firmly believe that. I live that daily, that love and kindness can actually change this world for the better, as bleak as it may seem. So take care of yourselves, be safe out there, and just remember, Hitler was a cunt, and so were all of his followers, even the modern ones. Now go mingle. Bye!
Are you an effective team?
We are an effective team.
Let them fight.
How did you just do that? I'm a really good lawyer.
Here on Caladan, we've ruled by air power and sea power. On Arrakis, we need to cultivate desert power.
Welcome, Mr. Beach. What's that bar? I'm a little confused.
Well, we wouldn't want that, would we?
I don't want to brag, but I will. I was in the Avengers.
The Avengers?
Yeah.
That's great. Thank you. What is that?
I'm going to make him an offer he can't refuse.
Toga, 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 toga.